Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Docs Huddle, your gateway to an in depth connection between sports medicine and the latest events in sports, fantasy, and betting. Today's show is brought to you by the Health and Wellness Depot. Unlock the power of well being. I'm Dr. Mikey B. With me, as always, Dr. MJB, the legend, CJ, the sports enthusiast. Gentlemen, welcome back. Football is officially over.
Yeah, let the off season begin. Holy moly.
It brings sadness and yet hope, as now 31 other teams can now get back to the drawing board in hopes that they can make their way to the promised land. With that being said, let's get right to it. So, Super Bowl Sunday wasn't my favorite.
No, disappointment. Okay, disappointment. Listen. Even if the Eagles won, I was expecting a better game. That was just pathetic to watch, man. From the first quarter, I didn't even finish the end. I got to like 3 minutes left. I went to a friend's house to watch it, and I was like, "Hey, man, I'm out." There's no reason for me to miss from more sleep.
That is so funny that you said that, because I literally said to my parents, because they had hosted too, and I was like, and obviously Christopher, my brother, and Mike, you're the brother from another mother, so you both know my parents very, very well. And I said, like, if you guys didn't put all the effort to make like this like what it is, because their kid cooked, we had all different courses, the whole nine, fun boxes, this and that. If they hadn't done all that, and I was at like someone else's who wasn't like a close friend or my family, I would have been so far gone. I would have been gone by the third quarter.
Yeah,
and I literally said that to him. I was like, "This is just terrible."
I considered cutting out early too, which is, don't get me wrong, I was watching with some of my close friends, but they're Eagle fans too, so I had enough by like fourth quarter.
That's a rough outing.
Painful, but I guess from a recap though, from a Super Bowl standpoint, I am happy Saquon got a ring because I wanted him to get one, as much as I hate seeing him be with the Eagles. But I think the Chiefs' offensive line has been exposed. They haven't been as good all year because they lost personnel and whatnot, lost with injuries. But I think this really exposed them to a whole another level because their defense carried them the whole year, and the offensive line was just it was painful to watch.
Yeah, I think as bad as the Chiefs O-line was, I think this has more to do about how dominant Eagles D-line was, man. Their defense.
Absolutely. I agree. You can't take anything away from that.
To me, that was the truth of the game, right? Like that old saying, defense win championships. It showed on Sunday, man. They won up front without blitzing, dude. Like they got all the sacks without blitzing. It was
crazy.
I was like, this is insane. He's running for his life, and they're not even sending people after him. It's crazy.
Dude, and it was over and over and over again. You saw the same thing. They beat them around the edge, and then he loves to step up into the pocket. They took that away from him because every time they were running stunts, and he'd run right into the guy pulling the stunt. It was like
the only thing
they took that away from him. It was over.
That I wasn't crazy about was I don't understand why the Chiefs didn't leave in either a running back or tight end or both to help block. If you go back and you watch most of the game, they never left an extra blocker in. And yeah, sure, they had Travis Kelce try and chip off the edge and then go for a pass, but they needed help. And I don't know, they just got completely overrun. I didn't see an adjustment there, which I thought was kind of crazy.
I thought what was crazy was that they didn't have a spy for Jalen Hurts. I like that. Yeah. I like that you're gonna force the Eagles to do something they haven't done all year, right? Like you're gonna force Jalen Hurts to beat you. I totally was on board with that. I love that they prioritized stopping the run on defense and was like, you know what? If we're gonna lose this game, it's gonna be through Jalen Hurts' arm. But then when he would take off in the pocket, I saw it once or twice. I'm like, okay, you're not expecting that. The third or fourth time, I don't understand why there isn't a spy at this point. Like, I don't get it because now. Yeah, you took away Saquon, but their ability to run is still prevalent through their quarterback. And now they can still do play action based off that. And so I think that's where they lost the leverage is when they didn't hone in on keeping a spy on the QB, and now the game just kind of got out of hand for them on what they're on defense.
Well, I will say this. Interestingly enough, despite how great that defense has been all year, meaning the Chiefs, and how well they did against stopping Saquon, ranked, I believe, it was 28th in the league against stopping, or it was either 28th or 32nd. It was high. It was terrible against stopping quarterbacks from rushing. So
yeah, I was just gonna
showed up as well. It was. I can't remember the set, but it was either 28th or 32nd against the rush against quarterbacks, and they got exposed again there. They were exposed in all their areas of weakness.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts had 72 yards rushing.
Dude.
Like that just cannot happen.
Right. You add that with Saquon's.
Two in the air and one on the ground.
You add that with Saquon's. I know he didn't go off, but that still gives you over 100 yards rushing. Like, so you met your metric there. Another thing that was interesting too. Listen, the Chiefs, I think they stumbled their way into the Super Bowl. We can all agree that they won games they weren't supposed to win. They weren't supposed to be there.
No,
they were not supposed to be there, and it showed on Sunday.
Thank you. Yes, the Bills dramatically underperformed, and in the AFC Championship game, allowing them to get to this Super Bowl. I just think it's because the Chiefs are their kryptonite. Personally, to this very moment, I still think that of those three teams, I think the Ravens were the better team of the three in the AFC. Once again, the Ravens couldn't get it done.
That would have been a much better game. I agree.
Oh, much better. I thought the Bills were going all the way. Much better game.
Well, yeah, but the Bills can't beat the Chiefs. I mean, they played terrible. I mean, they played terrible against the Chiefs. They allowed the Chiefs to go. The Chiefs didn't win. The Bills lost. And then how many one-score games did the Chiefs win? The whole narrative, we didn't create it regarding the NFL officiating helping the Chiefs, which obviously that didn't occur in the Super Bowl, but that was a narrative that was drawn out across the country. I mean, you developed that narrative when you keep on showing us that when everyone's watching on Sunday. So how many of those calls in those close games helped them make, a 15-2 record? I mean, they did not look like a 15-2 team at all in the playoffs. So I completely agree. I want to ask you guys a question. I saw this on social media. Have you guys seen the whole thing about Travis Kelce and his highlights from the game?
Oh, about lack of effort.
Yeah, I mean, I don't believe that in film you can judge effort.
I only saw one clip and I thought it was a stretch for the one clip that I saw.
Yeah, I don't think you can judge effort by looking at film. But I will say this. I don't know if you saw that. Then maybe you didn't see the same play I saw. Most of their unbelievable connections are above the X's and O's. Pat Mahomes is scrambling, trying to make a play, and Kelce's going out and doing something. This dude is just standing in the middle of the field, not moving at all. 5 yards from the line of scrimmage, just standing there watching as Pat Mahomes is running back and forth for his life. I mean, he could have tried to find an open space in the zone, but he really just stood there. I was like, at that point in the game, I'm assuming that they were already down, and they weren't coming back. But I just thought it was interesting. What? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna say that they were just
curious.
Defeated. They were
that's the vibe.
In every aspect of the game. So that clip was probably not like you said on the first drive. That clip is probably
fourth quarter. Game's already over.
Like they just got their asses wiped. It was 40-6 before the Chiefs put up some garbage points. You know what I mean? They just. I mean, at that point they were probably like, "Fuck this."
Yeah, and for as great as he is, dude, when you're not a factor in a game and you're expected to be relied on, and you're not even getting targets, that would take anyone out of their element, right? So we all played ball. It's one of those, man, I'm not even touching anything.
See, I agree.
Yeah.
He had 2 targets when the game mattered the whole time, and both of those targets were garbage. I mean, he didn't even have a play on the ball.
Yeah.
So I agree. I don't think you can put that one necessarily on them.
Yeah, and then you could also see you remember the bomb that Patrick Mahomes threw to Xavier Worthy for a touchdown?
Yeah.
And you could see that was one of the few plays where he actually had time. So
Yeah.
You know, totally different team on offense if they can slow down that pass rush of the defense.
Yeah. Very reminiscent of the Super Bowl against the Bucks in Tampa Bay against Tom Brady, and Pat Mahomes did not have the time and he couldn't produce. Now, granted, this game was way worse. At least that was a game, like, and then the Bucks wound up, pulling away at the end. Whereas this one was just, this one was just ugly.
Yeah. Last thing to mention, the last couple of years they won, the Chiefs have always been decimated at tackle. They found a way to always next player up, plug and play, and they've been able to kind of mask that deficit on their offense, right? Because no one had a elite defense up front across the board, right? So DNs are getting beat. Patrick Mahomes steps up. You don't have the best D tackle, so I can maneuver around, make something happen. No, this one, it was like, all right, DNs are tackles are beat, DNs are here. I'm stepping up. Oh crap, the D tackle's here too.
Yeah. Boom.
Pretzel. So
it's so true. Listen, watching Sweat, he got the job done. He played fantastic.
He did.
Because there were some plays where I had mentioned those stunts earlier where this dude is coming off the edge, making the tackle, split out, and then all of a sudden now they do that stunt. Now he comes back around as Mahomes is now trying to move up in the pocket, and he moves right into Sweat on that stunt. It looked so textbook clean. It was almost like it looked like they were just doing this for a practice. It was crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to transition into our next segment of the show. We have a very, very special segment for you guys called GM Docs on the Spot. Okay. I'll be the one narrating this segment. I think that you all will thoroughly enjoy this. The way that this is going to work is I'm going to as we get in closer, obviously the NFL season's over at this point, but as we're getting closer to transitioning to the start of the new season next month, I thought it would be a fun idea to play GM Docs on the Spot. And the way that this works is I will randomly select a individual between Dr. Mike and Chris, the sports enthusiast, and I will assign them a player, and they will have to try and find a team fit and explain why they think that player fits that team. Okay.
Now, these players are all free agents, or are we doing trades?
That's a part of the game. You'll find out. Might get a little bit of both. Element of surprise here, ladies and gentlemen. They have no idea where this is going. They just know that I'm going to assign them a player, and they just have to find the fit. Okay. You guys ready to get started?
Let's do it.
Let's hear it.
Okay. I'm going to start with Chris, the sports enthusiast. Let's find a fit in home for player Sam Darnold, QB of the Minnesota Vikings.
All right. So I think that Sam Darnold is going to potentially end up on the Raiders.
Cool.
I think that everybody thinks it's so obvious that he's going to get re-signed. I think the obvious re-signing to try and keep him on the Vikings is worth it, but they still have JJ McCarthy. Some people don't believe Sam Darnold can really get them that win in the postseason. It's always been throughout this year, regular season wins. Now, Pete Carroll becoming the new coach of the Raiders. The rumor is, maybe him and Russ try and reunite. I don't think that's going to happen. I think
No way.
that either.
No
I
way.
I think the Steelers are going to remain Russell Wilson's home, which then leaves a gap for the Raiders to now get at least a veteran as a bridge quarterback, because right now they don't have anyone. So I think that the Raiders are going to try to trade up and get either Cam Ward or Shedeur to sit behind a veteran that they pick up in free agency. And I think Sam Darnold can be that bridge quarterback for them in the scenario.
Now, I have with these rules of the game, can I ask a follow-up question?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So open forum here. So now Sam Darnold, 35 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Okay. This guy had a career year. If I'm his agent, I don't know if I'm gonna want to allow him to sign with a team that wants him as a bridge quarterback. This is the last opportunity this gentleman's gonna have to be a starter in the league. I want him to sign with a team where he's gonna be the guy. Whether we think he can be the guy or not, that's a different conversation. But I know that if I'm his agent, I'm not letting him go to the Raiders because we all know that the Raiders are doing everything that they can to trade up, and they're rebuilding their roster. You put this guy on a win now team.
Yeah, I mean
that's going to be best for his destiny.
I have a rebuttal to that, Mike.
Okay.
I have one other thing for Sam Darnold, but I'll let you finish because it's going to be.
If I'm his agent, I'm direct. Hey, you're Sam Darnold. Okay. You're Sam Darnold. The money's on the table. Take the money.
Yeah, I think that's going to be where the problem lies. I think that's going to be slightly where the problem lies with Sam Darnold staying on the Vikings if he's asking for too much money. I think that's going to be.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you, Chris. And
so that's why I'm not like, oh, he's going to definitely be a Viking. Now,
yeah.
The other thing that can happen, this might ruin the game with bringing up another player. Which we
no. Whoa.
Take it easy.
I'm saying it.
Oh, this guy. Look at this guy.
All right, fine. I'm not going to say anything besides the fact that we can just have a rumor that Matthew Stafford may he may or may not be the quarterback of the Los Angeles Rams. Does Sam Darnold fit the bill as a Rams quarterback if they don't have him? Who the hell is the Rams quarterback if Matthew Stafford isn't there?
I like it.
That's all I'm saying. Go for it.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Okay. Dr. Mike, you're up. I'd like you to find a home for said player T. Higgins, wide receiver of the Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh, this is a good one. So, at first glance, okay, I think. Listen, let's go off of what Christopher just said, right? I think that I know where I think he should go, okay, and I'm going to say that in a second. But if Sam Darnold, if Matthew Stafford stays on the Rams and they really are dealing Cooper Kupp, that could be a landing spot for him. Although I don't know if they want to invest all that money in another big time wide receiver acquisition. But that Cooper Kupp is still a big hole to fill. I just want to bring that up. Where I think he should go and where I want him to go, where I think this will be super exciting, is he's going to go down to a place where this gentleman wants money. Okay, he wants to get paid. Yeah. We know that. So where can we go where they ain't gonna tax me for my income? Okay,
here we go.
We're gonna go to the Bay Area of Tampa and join Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans and light up the sky. Okay,
here comes the money.
I want to see him down in Tampa Bay, where Chris Godwin. We're not going to re-sign him. We're going to get T. Higgins instead. There was talks of potentially maybe Tyreek Hill going across, to the west side of the state. I say they go and look at T. Higgins. He's young. He's going to bring another. Look how good Baker Mayfield is with a big target like Mike Evans. You get him a T. Higgins too, the team is unstoppable.
All right, so let me counter with a team, and I want to know what you think. So T. Higgins has been behind Jamar Chase, right? So he's been the number 2 wideout. He goes to Tampa. He might not care as much being underneath Mike Evans. I don't know how many years Mike Evans has left, but he's still essentially going in as a number 2 there. Right, Mike Evans is going to remain the number 1, I think.
But for how long? Yeah, but for how long, right?
Or Do you just finally fill the gap and you be Drake May's favorite target in on New England? Who is Drake May throwing this football to?
Wow.
He needs a number one guy.
Wow.
And
And I bet they have that cap
guy.
space.
T. Higgins is that guy. And then they focus on drafting all around them because now you have a number one receiver. You already have Drake May. You got Mike Vrabel, who's going to change the entire culture of the organization. It's an exciting time to be a New England Patriot. They're on the up and coming, and I think that he's a great fit.
I'm more inclined to like that, Chris. My only thing is historically, Patriots, the T. Higgins receiver doesn't fit their bill, and until they change personnel, like you bring in a Vrabel guy, I feel like he's already equipped with their system. Until they bring in a guy that's not a part of their personnel from the past, I just don't see that changing. Hopefully I'm wrong, because I think that would be a phenomenal fit. But based on Patriots past, that's not their MO. Bring in a big stud wide receiver, and then he just continues to have success based on the styles of offense that they like to run.
I mean, yeah, I get that. I mean,
hopefully we're wrong, because I would love to see that.
I think it's just going to change, right? Like, I think that you're right. Like, Mike Vrabel, he was a Patriot. He has that form of culture, but I think it's just going to be different, right? Patriots are sitting at the number 4 spot. If you fill that gap with the number 1 wide receiver, you know, you can get someone either extremely explosive to add to that offense on top of that, or you can, you know, really build up that defense, which I know Vrabel's a defensive guy. So you save that pick for a defensive spot. So I don't know. I just think that he would be a good fit because I think he wants to be number 1. And like you said, I assume that the Patriots would be having the cap space. Whether or not they're willing to pay all that much, I don't know, but well, to be seen.
The other thing that I wanted to just verify, and I am correct because I thought I remembered this correctly, but don't forget, Mike Vrabel was the coach of the Tennessee Titans when they traded away star receiver A.J. Brown. So I'm just curious to know how much they're going to value a receiver like that. One other thing I want to mention, you know, my favorite player of all time, who got snubbed, by the way, the Hall of Fame, but that's a conversation for a different time. Eli Manning has been, you know, chirping in Ja'Marr Chase's ear. They've been, you know, in cahoots. And so I'm just saying, Ja'Marr Chase, if Joe Burrow wasn't the quarterback there in Cincinnati, then I feel like maybe we got a shot. Ja'Marr Chase makes his way over to New York, and then the Bengals sign T. Higgins. That's in Michael's dreams.
I don't know what he.
You guys didn't hear about that
this morning? But.
You guys didn't hear about that?
No.
Yeah, Eli Manning keeps on tweeting to Ja'Marr Chase about the conversation that they had during the Pro Bowl, and Eli's trying to recruit Ja'Marr Chase to the Giants.
Man, listen, it'll be a lot for Ja'Marr to leave.
Well,
not only does he
okay, go ahead. No, go ahead. I want to show you what argument I have to this, but go ahead.
I'm just going to tell you, right?
Not only does he have his boy Joe Burrow at quarterback, but if I'm not mistaken, can't the team that drafted you pay you the most money if it comes back up to negotiation time? Like, isn't that how that works?
If you're tagged, yeah. If you're tagged.
So it'd be a hard sell. I mean,
let me just say this
unless they just started
right off
losing
the bat,
some more.
I'm pretty positive that when Ja'Marr Chase entered the league, I'm gonna find this article and we're gonna publish it somewhere on our page. But I am pretty positive that he lives either next to or right down the street from Joe Burrow, and he asked the guy. He asked the guy who lived there, "How much money do you want for the house? Because I want to live here." And he sold him the house.
All I'm saying is that this is my.
He's leaving Joe Burrow. That's all.
This is my argument.
Listen, that shocked me, man.
That's my argument. Anything is possible.
Listen, I woke up like, what? No way.
That was insane. That'll be a conversation for later. But anyway, that's my answer on T. Higgins.
Okay. Woo! It's wild card round. This round is not just free agents, but we have some Trade alerts.
Oh.
Trade alerts. I'm going to leave this to Dr. Mike to start it off, and then I'll pivot back over to you, Chris, the sports enthusiast. The Cleveland Browns trade Myles Garrett to who?
Yes, I love this. I absolutely love this. I don't think they're going to get a lot for him. I don't think that they have the leverage to do so. I think that teams are going to be able to. I think Cleveland Browns fans they're already miserable. Okay. They're going to become even more miserable when they only receive maybe a 2 and a 6 for Myles Garrett when he's worth basically 2 1s. Okay. But this is a great question. And rapid fire, off the top of my head, there's a couple of teams that I think could really value a gentleman like him, one of which is the Baltimore Ravens. Now, let me explain why. Okay. The Baltimore Ravens have been using athletes like Kyle Van Noy, who has been productive. That gentleman is older than us. He's been in the league for many years, and they continuously sign him to 1-year contracts, and they don't do it until after training camp. And it's like, okay, once again, we don't know what the Baltimore Ravens are going to look like going into in regards to their pass rush going into this year. Now, where were they amazing? Stopping the run. The Baltimore Ravens, fantastic at stopping the run this year. Where were they not? They were terrible at stopping the pass. They were in the bottom 5 or bottom 6 of teams in stopping the pass. They have a decent secondary. It's not great, but it's not terrible. I believe that fortifying a pass rush can very well help them get them to the promised land like we talked about earlier. What did we just say? The Philadelphia Eagles pass rush is what won them a Super Bowl championship. Mm-hmm. The Baltimore Ravens are right there. Invest in this guy right here, and I'm telling you, they're going to find themselves in the promised land. Myles Garrett is now part of Flock Nation.
Chris, to that you say?
I like the landing spot. You think that he's not going to be like when you say his value, before I mention a team or two that I think you said that his value, what picks did you say?
I listen, I didn't do all my research. Remember, the way that we're doing this game is just off but I'm guessing a 2 and a 6. Listen, they got Sean Watson is $72 million against the cap this year. Dead cap space. $72 million against the cap. They can't pay a lot of people. He wants out. They know that teams like clearly know that the Browns, I don't think, have a lot of leverage here. And so anyway, that's why I don't think that they're going to be able to sign him for much.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, so I want to say 2 teams, which both of them, me and you are going to absolutely hate. I think the thing is this: Myles Garrett wants to win now. I'm trying to find if he has a no trade clause in his contract, but maybe not. I can't find it. The Eagles are going to want to repeat. As dominant as their defensive line is, the Eagles managed to do. No, just hear me out.
Do you want to ruin football for all of us?
Right.
This almost threw up. The Eagles are going to want to try and repeat, and they're going to try and, grab him and do whatever because he wants to go to a Super Bowl. He wants to have a chance of winning a Super Bowl. To prevent the Eagles from doing this, I think the Washington Commanders are going to trade for him.
Oh, wow. That
so I think the Washington Commanders
interesting.
Are going to prevent that from happening. Just that like the Giants did not prevent Saquon from going there. And I think that they have the money. They're a young team. It's an exciting time with Jaden Daniels. They got to the national conference game against the Eagles. They're looking for a push with extra talented players. I think he fits that solution for them.
I like that.
I like that a lot.
I like that a lot. Yeah.
I just want to add one more quick thing about so Myles Garrett, he only has 2 years left on his contract. Okay. Now that is going to further diminish his value in a trade because if a team's trading and they're giving up assets, right, they want to know that this guy's going to be under contract with them. And so he signed that $125 million contract extension with the Browns back in 2020. So now, like, he's coming to the end of this. That was in 2020. Signed the 5-year deal. So maybe he's got 1 year left, based off of. Maybe it's either 1 or 2 years left. Sources are a little all over the place. It's February. No, 2 years. According to ESPN, 2 years. So if you're going to sign a guy or trade for a guy, you don't want to Juan Soto in the NFL, right? Where the Yankees trade and give up all these assets, and then after one season, he doesn't sign with your team, and you lost all those assets, and you only had him for 1 year. So we talk about this all the time. This is the reason why back when Odell Beckham was on the New York Giants, Dave Gettleman goes and signs him for that $95 million. I think it was $95 million. And we were like, oh my God, he's going to be a Giant. Let's go. And then before you know it, now he's on the Browns because that increased his trade value once having him under contract, guaranteeing that he's going to be with that team. So I just don't think that there's going to be a lot of leverage. I think that it's going to make it more exciting for us.
The only way I can
fans.
see that, if I remember correctly, as an example, Jalen Ramsey was traded to the Miami Dolphins. And during that trade, the only way that the Miami Dolphins agreed to that trade was that they actually agreed to a contract extension with Jalen Ramsey all at the same time.
Yes.
So that option is on the table. Yeah. So that option is on the table.
Yeah.
I could see a team doing that to try and grab Myles Garrett and make him their pass rusher.
They extend him upon the trade. And honestly, that's a brilliant move.
Yeah. I think that's something that's going to, be on the lookout for someone grabbing him.
Yeah, for sure. And, he has to agree to that, right? He has that power to extend his contract. So if he's not going to be happy with where he's going, then that goes out the window. But that helps him kind of dictate where he's going to fall.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree.
100%.
Okay. We're going to stay on that same note. Still trade alert. Chris, the sports enthusiast, I want you to find our boy, the Triple Crown winner, Cooper Kupp, a home.
Ooh. Damn, I want to say a team I already said. I think I'm gonna
do it.
I mean, we're a better fit. If T. Higgins doesn't work out, he's Drake May's favorite target.
Yeah.
Pat.
I can see that.
I mean, they need a wide receiver desperately. So I think that those guys are. Yeah. And you know what? Actually, I would say either the Patriots or I actually like Tampa for him with Mike Evans. I like that.
Tampa.
I think I like Tampa, actually. I like Tampa a little bit more because Tampa's looking to fill the void with Chris Godwin becoming a free agent. So they're looking for that weapon. They still want an explosive offense with Baker Mayfield. I think I like that landing spot for him a little bit better than the Patriots.
Love it. I think that is that's a big win for both parties if he ends up down there. And don't forget, Baker played that short stint in Los Angeles.
That's true.
With him,
that
connection could be phenomenal.
I like that.
I love that for Cooper.
I like that a lot.
The only thing that's going to be tough with the team like a Patriots is that I don't know. I feel like with older guys is when they had success or they know they don't have a larger window than they had before, money doesn't become the sole driving force of where they go. So that's my only hesitation with Cooper Kupp. It's like, he won. He's not trying to have.
I'd be shocked if he goes
like
to
that.
New England.
Yeah,
I honestly,
it's
I'd be
one
shocked.
of those.
No,
there's
I
no
agree.
one else.
I agree.
Now his injury history does play a part,
right?
Yeah, and I was going to say
in terms of his market, yeah.
The other thing that I could see is him trying to stay. Why am I drawing a blank here? Oh, you know what?
He could move to the Bay Area since Debo wants out.
That would be good too.
You know what? I'm gonna throw one other team out there. I kind of want to get your thoughts. So, Cooper Kupp has been really shocked about the Rams trying to move on from him. He wanted to keep his whole career in LA and he wanted to finish it there. What about the Chargers? He doesn't want to move.
Well, that's why I mentioned the San Francisco move.
You
'cause
know,
of Debo.
yeah.
So yeah. I mean,
That would work too.
yeah,
You
I
know,
would stay
That would
in
be
LA and
that
go
would
to the
be a
Chargers.
really good move. That'd be a really good move.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he doesn't want to move. He publicly said that. You know, he's doesn't want to move, and I follow him and his wife on Instagram. They both said the same thing. So, you
The
know,
Chargers make the most sense in that regard,
yeah. So that's why I threw that out there.
and they could
I
use
think
a guy who can catch a
personally-
football.
Yeah, I think personally, if they're trying to win now and bring the team to the next level, I'd stick with the Bucks. But yeah, I mean,
Yep, I agree.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay.
That's good. All right, what do we got?
We're gonna hop into one more round of this. Okay.
okay.
Chris, since I started off Mike on the last round in our wild card round, you will lead us off in this round, okay?
Okay.
One more for each of you, huh? Has to be a good one. I'm gonna give you, Chris, Javon Holland, safety, Miami Dolphins.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Ooh. I had a spot for him too. I was thinking about this too.
It's good. That means it worked.
This is good. You stumped him. This is good.
I'm actually excited for this upcoming season. I think all these free agents, man, there's so many.
Dude,
I'm like, man, this is
know.
gonna be nice. Yeah, this is gonna be nice.
I know.
Oh man, I'm trying to think. All right, so this is my question. My question is, hold on, I gotta look one thing up.
No, take your time.
Just to be clear, while he's thinking, MJB, I have one for you at the end.
Oh,
You found one?
the thing is, it's not going to work out. But what I was going to say is, Baltimore has Kyle Hamilton. What if you put them next to each other, and like they're trying to bring that defense to a whole nother level? But it's not going to work because they're both free safeties. So,
Oh yeah, I don't know if you can spend that much.
Yeah,
that's a lot spent
that-
on the. I know he's working on his rookie contract, so I guess he could pull it off.
but even then, I mean, if they were to pull that off, listen, Kyle Hamilton's a stud. He can play in the box too.
That's
yeah,
true.
He's unbelievable. Man, I'm stumped on this one. I have to think about this one.
Okay, no, I'll give you some time, and we'll jump to Mike, and we'll come right back to you.
Let's
Okay.
do it.
All right, Mike. Just to round it off, I mean, you can't not talk about it. Does Aaron Rodgers find a home or not?
Oh,
There's no way we could have went the show without talking about it.
Yeah.
So, like,
No.
keep in mind, the NFL draft is not super strong with QBs. So
I know. I think that things like his own Netflix documentary and how the Jets organization is currently wrapped up in just hell currently. Like I just, who is going to be willing to bring that into their organization? You know, maybe the Cleveland Browns, but then don't forget Aaron Rodgers needs to agree to that. Right. So like,
yeah,
I think that the problem is that he's so selective, you know, that, and I don't think that the market's going to be very high. We thought that Bill Belichick and Pete Carroll, I know that Pete Carroll just signed with the Raiders going into this season, which is fantastic. I think it's going to be an awesome signing for them. But this time last year, going into the 2024 season, we were like, oh, who's going to sign Bill? Who's going to sign Pete Carroll? These two legends at head coach. Dude, they went unsigned. And I just think that teams are getting to the point where, like, same with this. Aaron Rodgers is someone who he didn't prove it that he can play since his injury. You know, I know that as a physical therapist, the second year is always going to be the better year. So I think that taking that into consideration, I know that that's something that may work for me if I were to be signing him, but that doesn't mean that other organizations are going to be okay with this.
I was thinking about that for a while during the year.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Listen, I disagree with both of you. Deja vu. History repeats itself.
he's going to the Vikings.
He's going to the Vikings.
Yes, that was the
He is going to the Vikings. He is following Favre's footsteps. He is going to the Vikings.
So, bro, that is
Think about it. It's an ideal scenario.
That was my last caveat.
It's an ideal scenario.
They don't sign Sam Darnold. He goes somewhere else, and then JJ McCarthy sits 1 year healthy underneath Aaron Rodgers. They sign him to a 1 year deal, maybe two tops, but they do not give him the power that the Jets gave him coming in.
Correct.
And he's going to be okay with that because they're established to win right friggin' now.
And JJ McCarthy didn't play last year, so this is his glorified rookie season. So he gets to sit, learn from Aaron. And I think that's the only smartest move.
That's a good fit.
That's dude. That's the only place I see him landing. Okay,
I couldn't get it out fast enough.
I was leading up to that. I knew exactly. Yeah, that would be my place for him if he goes anywhere.
So it's funny that you say that. To top it off, the Vikings not only signed him, but they signed Javon Holland. I found him a home. The Vikings are ready now.
Okay.
And they want to.
I like that a lot.
They want to fulfill. Yeah, I had to find him a home the right way, and I had to think about it. like I had to think about it because he's too good of a player. But they're a win now team, and they want to bring that defense to a whole nother level. That secondary locked down with Javon Holland.
Mm-hmm. I think
locked
so too.
Down.
That's a good fit.
I completely agree. So I am going to make a comment on another free agent real quick that I would like to see signed somewhere. And then I got a good one that I want to hear from both of you guys, particularly Dr. MJB, because he has not shared with us just yet. So Travarius Ward, who I believe is the top corner in free agency this year, and with the cap space that the team has, I don't want to hear nothing. The New York Football Giants better sign this guy because they desperately need it, and there are no excuses. Okay, just sign him. Don't think. Don't be like, oh well, there's a couple other guys out there. No. We saw what you did with Saquon. Sign the goddamn guy. All right, let's move on. I don't have to talk about it. Can we all agree?
Yeah, get it.
Travarius Ward,
great fit.
New York Giants. It's perfect fit, and it's desperate. It's desperate. Okay, on that, where are we going to find our home for a former patient of mine? He, in the clinic, one of the most delightful and respectful individuals, but he's a very interesting character on the field and within the locker room. Our boy, known to Mr. Studio Girl and sister, Stefon Diggs.
Oh my gosh. Whoo, man. That is a good one.
I know. Does he re-sign with the Texans? I mean, I'm not feeling it. Maybe.
Give me a second.
Where does he go? This is a tough one, guys. Now, remember, torn ACL. He will be coming back first year of torn ACL. He's, when did the ACL tear happen? I got to double check that. I believe it was mid-season, right? So we're not going to even get him back until mid-season. So teams signing him is very reminiscent of the Odell Beckham tear mid to end season. You sign him, you get him back maybe towards the end of the regular season the following year.
I got a team. Who you got? Sorry, keep going. I
was just saying, and is he going to even be productive for you? You're signing him to a 1 year deal, probably, and that 1 year deal is only going to be for the regular season. I honestly, unless if you're a contender I'm not even looking his way, but let me hear it.
I have a team. Who do you got? You want me to go, or I want to hear what MJB's got? He's stunned. I thought he froze.
Ah!
I thought he was frozen.
Mom, listen, now I know it's like to be on the other side there, Mike.
It's the problem is he's been a problem child.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not easy to just be like, yeah, they're gonna just pull the trigger. I do think
he's gonna sign somewhere though.
No, I think I have a couple teams. I know I need to find just one. My first fit would be.
He froze again.
So my first fit would be, believe it or not, the Cincinnati Bengals. I think they signed him to replace T. Higgins.
I could see it. You're not going to get him for a while though. But I could see
I either have them or I have the Ravens, dude.
That's who I got.
Listen, so Ravens took the chance with Deontay Johnson, and he was on like a plethora of teams before that point.
They took a chance with Odell.
Yeah, so if they're willing to do that, man, I could see them being like, you know what? Let's just take a chance.
Look, you got Zay Flowers,
Stephon Higgins,
Rashad Bateman, that gets you through half the season, or if not all, most of it without him. Comes to getting Stephon Diggs more energized because you're going to get him later in the year for the specific reason that you cannot beat the Buffalo Bills or the Chiefs in the postseason. And he's that guy that helps you ignite this offense to a little bit further of a level to try and win and take them on.
And I love him going to the Ravens. There's been reports that the Ravens are going to try to shop for Tyreek Hill. I don't think he's leaving Miami personally. I don't think.
Yeah, me neither.
He's not going.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere. So that was all smoke. It's not actually happening. It's just because there's comments at the end of the season, but he's not going anywhere. I think this is one where he comes in end of the season. You know that they're going to be a contender, and this is not a place where I think you can bitch and moan for the football. And Lamar will tell you to shut up immediately.
Not only Lamar, Jim Harbaugh.
Well, that's true, but I'm just saying. But Lamar takes control, and you got to respect his leadership. If you're going to give him attitude, I think you're out. And we don't know what happened with Deontay Johnson, but my assumption is that is what happened to some degree. And so I just think that you won't have that. I didn't hear any of that type of stuff going on in Houston. So I think that, and he was in a pretty good wide receiver room there before he got hurt. So I think that the Ravens are a good fit for him.
You know, I have one other team that I'm actually thinking of that would be a good fit. Who is opposite Terry McLaurin? I think Dan Quinn can handle the wrath of Stephon Diggs if they wanted to double up. And they said that they're shopping for a second wide receiver to be opposite side Terry McLaurin. I think he's another potential fit.
Yeah, De'Ami Brown's on a number 2. He's coming along towards the end of the year as a decent number 3, but he ain't on number 2.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. No, that could be a spot for sure. I mean, listen, there's other guys though, right? The only thing, what I found most intriguing with the Stephon Diggs signing is that it's not just the fact that the history with the locker room with the Bills and all, and then the Vikings also they wanting to leave, like that you're worrying about that when you're making this signing, but also you're not getting them for the whole year. So you have other guys out there that I think are on the back end of their career that probably are not going to be as productive as a healthy Stephon, like D-Hop, DeAndre Hopkins. Where's he going to land? You have very interesting.
Man, I think he's done, dude.
Yeah, that was bad.
I agree.
I think listen, last 6 games, I'm like, who the hell is this?
I think that was a rough comparison because bro needs.
Well, I'm not done. No, I'm not saying. I just said that Stephon. We said before we have Chris Godwin, who's a free agent. We have Amari Cooper, who's a free agent.
Yeah.
All right, forget about the D-Hop. There's guys out there that are free agents that are
I agree.
at the receiver position that they're not as good as Stephon Diggs, but they're also going to be healthy.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
and I agree.
I mean, I think that pass in the Super Bowl to him says it all.
It's just funny that when you said D-Hop, me and Chris were like, oh, I mean, that's not a guy to use right now.
I got jumped.
Listen, I watched him in the Super Bowl. I was like, I've never seen a guy more done than this. Like, it looked like one of us out there. I was like, man, he's just done. He just doesn't have it.
He doesn't. He like lost like 3 steps.
Yeah, he did. And it wasn't that fast to begin with.
No.
Tennessee Titans, where wide receivers go to die. But go ahead.
I completely agree with that comment. Listen, I got 2 more. So if you guys are up for it.
All right, let's see. Let's hear it.
Let's go for it.
All right. So this one is going to be more of a calculated one, and then we'll do the other one more after that. Which I think it's going to be very intriguing. This one I think is because it holds potentially the greatest amount of value at this position. Tackle Cam Robinson, formerly of the Jacksonville Jaguars, was then traded to the Minnesota Vikings for damn near nothing. Why? Because wasn't on a contract, and now here we are, and he's in free agency. We know how hard it is to get a tackle. He's going to get paid more money than he probably should in free agency, and we know how bad it is when you don't have sufficient tackles. We witness it on Sunday, obviously making the Chiefs someone who might want to look his way. Who else do you think might be a really good fit for tackle Cam Robinson?
So outside of the Chiefs, because that was my number one.
That was my number one.
Correct. I said that. Correct. I said, and the other tackle was Ronnie Stanley, but I think he's going to re-sign with the Ravens, so I'm not even going to bring that up.
I already have the team.
Let's hear it.
Cincinnati Bengals.
Yes, love it.
Cincinnati Bengals. You let T. Higgins
love
walk.
it.
Your priority has to be protect Joe Burrow. Has to be.
So I don't like moving guys around. If you know he's a sure thing, what is the possibility that he can play right tackle instead of left tackle?
It's a good question.
And the reason why I throw that out there is because the New York Giants are coming into this offseason. They have Andrew Thomas. They already basically publicly made it known the money is going into this offensive line. I've seen a few where they're saying they're going to try and fix it once and for all. It's probably going to be BS, but guess what? Let's get our hopes up again. And
I mean, they have to say that, right? Like
that's what I'm saying. Right? So in that scenario, it's always very hard to find a right tackle. So if you can take a left tackle and plug him in at right tackle, you would have your bookends with Andrew Thomas.
And Jermaine Illuminor has shown ample amounts of success when he played for the Raiders at right guard, who was moved to right tackle for the New York Giants last year because, well, Evan Neal just can't get it done. He can't stay healthy, can't do the job, can't do anything. So you move?
Like we have to obviously move on from him.
Or try him at guard finally, even though they keep on saying that they're not going to.
That they try him at guard.
Well, the coaching staff says that they're never going to, but it's like, well, how many other players that couldn't get it done at tackle moved to guard, and then they were an adequate guard that was sufficient?
Eric Flowers.
Anyway, that literally. So I thought about that. I love the Cincinnati Bengals. That's an easy plug and play. I think that the New York Giants need to go after one of these tackles, and then you can move Jermaine Illuminor into guard because you know that he can get it done, unless you go ahead and you just outright sign Trey Smith, who is, one of the best guards in the league. That was one of the only formidable players on the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line. I mean, you take that away from them, they got nobody that can plug up.
I mean, I mean, if the Giants are real about spending the money, you get a bridge quarterback, you draft one of the guys coming out, and you know what? Maybe you figure out how to spend the money on both Trey Smith and him, right? Like we've been doing this for 7 years now. Like
longer.
Let's figure it out.
Let's
figure it out.
Completely agree.
Just do it.
I completely agree. I got one more. We can finish on this note. All right. This one, we had mentioned his name once earlier. CJ did in particular. A guy who I don't know if he's going to resign there. I really don't. but it's intriguing, and that is quarterback Justin Fields. Does this guy have a new home? I don't believe that he's shown enough to become a necessary starter for another team. However, the level of mediocrity at the quarterback position in the league it's like a plague. There's going to be plenty of teams that are just in dire need of help at the quarterback position, the New York Giants. As you said, the quarterback pool coming out of the draft is not very strong. So if you're not one of those top teams that are able to draft a quarterback, say you're a team that can't trade up for one of those quarterbacks, does that make him a good landing spot? Like if I'm a team that I can't trade up to draft a quarterback and I don't have a good quarterback on my team, do I want to look in Justin Fields' direction? Find me a home.
Indianapolis Colts.
Love it.
Yeah, I thought that
absolutely
yeah,
love
that
it
too. That's a good one.
Yes.
That's
Joe
a good
Flacco.
one.
Joe Flacco's free agent. Anthony
I think he's done.
Richardson is your starter. Yeah, Anthony Richardson's your starter. We're better to fit in with the type of offense that Anthony Richardson's going to run.
Absolutely love it.
And then as a backup.
If the Indianapolis Colts do not sign Justin Fields or Daniel Jones this offseason, they did something wrong.
Yeah, and I actually this is a separate one. I really like Daniel Jones on the Miami Dolphins. I think Tua has an injury history. I think
that's great too.
There, he has a chance to play. He wants to play. Like he doesn't want to just go to a team. Granted, I think that he's going to end up potentially with the Vikings again, but if he doesn't, I think Miami Dolphins. I think he's going to be a backup for the Vikings. He wants to stay with Kevin O'Connell because he wants to grow his career. Kevin O'Connell develops quarterbacks. I think he tries to stay there for a career move, but again, I think he's a good fit for the Miami Dolphins.
I mean, I don't disagree. I mean, can we all agree that the Miami Dolphins should be shopping heavily at the backup quarterback position this year? We know what happens if Tua can't play. They literally lose their season.
So that's once you said Dolphins, I was going to say that's the best ideal pick. I
that's
think
what I'm saying.
For who? Justin Fields or for?
Yeah, for Justin Fields.
Yeah. I mean,
like because he didn't play. He's not going to garner a huge contract, right? So you can bring him in, and I'd have him compete. Like that's what he's looking for. He's looking for a job where he can compete. I'd have him compete because if he doesn't go there, I see him if Aaron Rodgers doesn't go to the Vikings, I can see them doing a one-year deal with Justin Fields, prove-it deal. Makes sense for both parties if Aaron Rodgers doesn't go to the Vikings, right? Because it's like, well, we're trying to win now. You can prove it, sign somewhere else. McCarthy sits a year and start him. That could be an option. There's not a lot of scenarios I like for him, though, man, for Justin Fields. As bad as it is around the league, there's not a lot of scenarios I like.
I like the Colts scenario the best simply because, like Tua, Anthony Richardson hasn't shown that he can play a 16-game season. So it's sad to say, but if you play on either team, you're almost guaranteed to at least start a few games. The thing is that I think with how they run their offense with Anthony Richardson, I think it's going to play well for more success for Justin Fields because you got to be able to sling it if you're going to have success in that Miami offense. You got to be able to throw the football and you got to do well. And I haven't seen enough from Justin Fields in the league yet where we can rely on his arm for all the success.
Yeah. So, but the only reason I like it though is Mike McDaniels has a lot of creativity.
True.
And Tua doesn't have a huge arm and he made it work for him.
He does not.
So I think that would be interesting. You know, another thing too, the only reason I don't like it for the Colts is as bad as Anthony Richardson has been, I'd rather sign someone that I know they're going to be on the team, but I want him in his mind to still think that this is his job. I don't want him to lose confidence. And I feel like
so
you bring in Justin
signing?
Fields.
I see what you're saying, but who are the Colts signing? Because they got to find someone who's going to be competent because until listen, we live this with Daniel Jones, right? Until you can prove to us that you can stay on that field.
What
Because
about
once that quarterback goes down, you can't we can't lose the season because the quarterback goes down. And that's what's happening with a lot of these teams.
What about Matthew Stafford? If he was to be let go, like, do you?
I want him to be a Giant.
Well, my only thing is,
but
I don't think Colts roster is as bad as their team is.
No, I agree.
Their quarterback play has been awful. That we can't even say how good or bad they are.
That's true. I will say,
Sure.
If you look at Justin Fields, still got reps even when Russell Wilson was starting. So he would come in off the bench and he would do some read options. He would do some quarterback sneaks. They basically use him as like a what's his name? Tyson Hill type of player. I actually like the idea. Mike McDaniels is an offensive guy, so if he doesn't end up on the Colts, which I think is a better landing spot for him, then I could see him being used in plays like that for the Dolphins because he wants to protect Tua. You're not going to start using Tua for any of that stuff. They need to stop using him for that stuff, in fact. They need to protect him. So I actually like that idea. If he goes to the Miami Dolphins, you're using him as a Tyson Hill, but it's clear that Tua is our starter. So I kind of do like that as well.
If this has nothing to do with that, but Mike mentioned something earlier. If Giants found a way to get Matthew Stafford, dude, that'd be incredible. Like,
so it's interesting.
I'm hearing that it might happen. Yeah,
I'm hearing a lot of talk of not only Stafford going
really,
there,
really good,
but Cooper Kupp going there.
I heard that too.
Definitely see that.
I saw that in a package deal that they both make their way over to New York.
I can see that.
Listen,
like we'd have to trade so much though, and
I don't know. I don't know.
Both of them.
I don't know, man. Especially the talk of.
I don't think Cooper Kupp's value is as high as we may think it is. That injury
receivers value their value drops substantially.
You might get him for a 5, dude, or a 6. Yeah. No, kidding. You might get him for a 5 or a 6. No, but think about how the value of some of these guys that we've been seeing. You're like, oh my god, how in the world? Like, you already made it known that you're shopping him and you're moving on from him immediately. Yep. That makes it much more difficult for you to bargain. Now, that plus the injury history, maybe you can get more value in that trade if you're trading Stafford too.
They're not in their prime, and I think that's what bodes well for other teams. They're not in their prime. They're still getting paid big money. So it's like, if you're going to take on that contract and they're not in their prime, I'm not giving you much.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. I think it's picks that you're giving up, I think it's worth it because it's not going to be your first or second round pick. So
no, it's not. You draft a quarterback, you get your guy in Stafford, and you manage to do a package deal where you get Cooper Kupp too. Your entire offense changed overnight, and your rookie is now going to be sitting under one. We know how big of a Matthew Stafford fan I am, so like I'm going to blow him up into proportion, but I think he's one of the best quarterbacks. Get your boy, man. Get your boy. One of those. He's one of the best quarterbacks in our generation's watching football. So if it kind of reminds me of a little bit of when Kurt Warner was signed, right, Hall of Famer by the Giants, as Eli Manning came in, and now you have a guy who can man an offense, make some changes. I think that you're going to get Matthew Stafford, but better than when Kurt Warner was, they got Kurt Warner. And I think that positive change can happen. The only thing is, they got to make sure that they're also shoring up the offensive line if they're going to make it happen.
Yeah. And I don't know if you heard, but the Giants signed Stafford's brother-in-law as the quarterback's coach.
Yes.
For just recently. And that's reuniting with Brian Dable and him.
From the Bills. And being that it's Stafford's brother-in-law, that's where some of the hype continues to grow. And so like if you get him, how productive Cooper Kupp has been. Hello, Triple Crown winner with Stafford at quarterback. They have a great connection there. And Cooper Kupp doesn't have to be the number one. You have Malik Neighbors, then you have Cooper Kupp, and then you have Wan'Dale Robinson as your number 3.
I mean, he's not a bad number 3 if that's where he's going to be. So
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We don't have a number 2. We don't have a number 2 receiver. We don't. We continuously draft and say that we have all these guys. They don't perform. So, I mean, and you can't even say we don't have a quarterback to give them the ball because they don't catch the ball. The ball hits their hands and it's down, lost. Like, it doesn't make sense. So if you can make that package deal, shore up your offensive line, dude.
yeah,
You got to do something, man. You have the Eagles, the Commanders.
I think the Giants are going to make a very big splash because, quite frankly, Joe Schoen and Brian Dable are lucky to have another year. So they have to make a big splash to, A, continue to try and keep their job and turn it around immediately. They can't keep waiting because, I mean,
I agree.
they don't do anything substantially different. They're gone.
They're gone, 100%. So I'm expecting a splash.
I agree.
Well, unless you want to add anything about Carolina Panthers there, Michael.
No, listen, I want him to get a receiver in free agency. And with that first pick, you got to go defense, man. You got to go defense. Get a receiver in free agency and go defense. That our defense is atrocious. So,
yeah. And look, like we discussed, I mean, hey, do you think they got a shot at T. Higgins? Do they go after T. Higgins?
yes, they go after T. Higgins.
They have to.
Yeah, you have to.
Bryce was promising towards the end of the year. I'm surprised we didn't even talk about this. We talked about him going to some of the other places, but Bryce was promising towards the end of the year. You sign a T. Higgins to him, like that could change your offense dramatically.
Oh, 1,000%. 1,000%. 1,000%.
I don't see why you.
But there's options like all the ones we've named earlier: Chris Godwin, Amari Cooper. Like you can bring in a guy, even like obviously my preference would be T. Higgins. He doesn't have an injury history, but if you can't get him, there's some guys, some viable options you can help to continue to build up.
There are. However, I will say this. You already have a number 2. Adam Thielen's still throwing up 1,000-yard seasons, bro.
Yeah.
You have a number 2 in Adam Thielen. You need to go get your number 1. None of those other guys out there can be number 1.
No, I agree. But what I'm saying is I just don't see them because they're not going to go
all the money.
They're not going to go back-to-back drafts, first round wide receiver. So if they don't find a way to get T. Higgins, which I think they should go all in on, it's like you have to settle for one of those other guys. I can't imagine a world that they go back-to-back trying to get a wide receiver. And I haven't heard like this is like a great wide receiver class anyway. So it's like
no.
If they don't get T. Higgins, I kind of got to rely on one of those other guys, you know?
Yeah. No, T. Higgins is fortunate. This is the year you want to be a free agent at wide receiver, bro. He's gonna get paid. He's gonna get paid a lot.
Yeah,
He's probably gonna reset the market,
my only
dude.
concern with that's my only concern with Carolina Panthers signing him. It's just like,
but you guys got money though, no?
I think it's gonna be so much money. It's just that they have so many places to fix in their roster that I don't know. Maybe they'll spend the money on it. It's just
so believe it or not, I'm not being biased when I say this.
This guy's about to tell us that they don't need a lot to fix.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait to hear it come out of his mouth.
Is that what's happening right now? This guy's out here trying to convince us that he doesn't have a lot to fix.
Finish that statement.
Hey, Mike, what you drinking over there tonight, bro? It's a Wednesday. You got to lay off the hard stuff.
Listen. So I'm not saying that they don't have a lot to fix. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we were decimated by injuries, so we have a lot of guys coming back. Is what I'm saying. That's what I mean by that. It's not as bad as it looks. Okay, it's bad.
The New York media, they suck. They need to. You just said it in a different way. like what was that?
I mean, I will say that your offense did show that it can do something, and that's why I think that if you do invest in a piece like a T. Higgins, I do believe that could literally launch your offense into complete contention. Now that defense, on the other hand, but
think about it, Mike. They showed up the O-line. Jatavian Sanders was a hit at tight end, huge hit. Okay, huge hit. You sign T. Higgins, and Xavier Legette shows any kind of improvement.
He's got it. He has to.
You know what I mean? He shows any kind of improvement with him, Adam Thielen, these complimentary guys. Offense looks decent. It looks decent. And then you still get Derek Brown was out all season.
Yeah, that's a huge loss.
You know what I mean? And then if let's say we end up grabbing a D end, just that alone on the D line changes what we have up front. We have a few, obviously there's still more to fix, but I mean, it's not as bad as it seems when you factor in all those guys that were hurt and things like that. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying we're a playoff team. I'm not saying we're going to Super Bowl, but I'm saying it's not as bad as it may seem on paper.
So last question for you, because I know we got to wrap up, but do you think that the Carolina Panthers would go all in on Myles Garrett then?
Nah, we don't have enough to give.
I agree.
And the money that
it's like you said, it might not be that much to give, right? It might be
but to sign him to a contract is the problem.
That's
the money.
And we just can't expense that much money into one player.
That's my issue with T. Higgins. Like if they're going to do that or not. That's kind of what I'm saying with T. Higgins. But
that's a good point.
I mean, I can see that. I just don't want to. How old is Myles Garrett anyways? Like I don't know. I'm just not on the. He has a lot more on his
29.
Than,
he got a couple more good years with him, but like if he's smart, he's signing with a team that's a contender now because he's only got a couple more years where he's gonna be playing at that.
But I found that he doesn't have a no trade clause, so you know what? The Browns could tell him,
going where we send you.
Yeah, true. They give us a good deal. Have a good day.
Well, I will say this though, we're not, tonight's show is not about draft talk, and so I'm not going to get into specifics. But listen, right, Panthers at the number 9 pick. You got guys like Abdul Carter, Mason Graham. You got Michael Williams. Like
that's what I'm saying.
There's 3 legitimate guys that you can go after.
Yeah,
and with that being said, I think you can't mess up. You got to get one of these 3 guys.
That's what I'm saying. And listen, this draft is good at 3 areas from what I've been hearing. It's good at D-line.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that it's good at corner. Okay, and then the other position was running back.
Yeah.
Okay, so like things we need. So that's something like if you're gonna pour in and it's a good defensive class, like go ahead and get defense and try to find your weapon on offense through free agency to kind of help offset that. So that we did it the year prior. We went all offense and it kind of started to show towards the end of the year. I think if you truly want to make change, you got to go after defense, man.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I mean, has JC Horn played more than like 5 games in a season?
Yeah, he went to the Pro Bowl this year.
Did he really?
Yeah.
He played a lot this year? Because I didn't hear his name once. I guess that's probably a good thing, right? Because he's doing his job.
Yeah, he played all games this year. He went to the Pro Bowl. So
all right. So that finally he's doing what he needs to do over there at corner. So
correct.
Hey, listen. This is what we do in the offseason. We have a lot of hope, okay? A lot of hope, a lot of wishes.
And that's how you can
do. Until the regular season starts and we're back to reality.
True.
All right. Well, listen, tonight's show was a lot of fun. We want to thank everyone for listening in. We'll be back on next week to talk further off-season talks, maybe a little bit of chatter about some other sports. That will remain to be seen. All right. But we want to thank everyone for joining us this evening. For Dr. MJB, the legend, CJ, the sports enthusiast, I'm Dr. Mikey B. We'll see you guys next time.